guys, Mix here, and today's video we are back with our newest build, and that is with our 1980 Honda CB750C that we're going to be swapping this engine into the half-scale NASCAR. So in last video we went ahead and took off the carburetors and the boots and everything and began cleaning a lot of stuff up because this engine is literally the most disgusting engine I've ever worked on. And I went ahead and tried to attempt to save these carburetors. I began cleaning them up a little bit, but they are still clearly very dirty, but everything is pretty much frozen on there, or should I say it was frozen, because I was just going to go ahead and just get new carburetors for it, because I don't think I can really save these with just a rebuild kit, because literally everything was frozen. And I wasn't able to get a lot of these little Phillips head screws out because they were just rounding out, but I got out as many as I could. But some of you guys suggested ways to get them out, and one of those was with vice grips, and I actually used them, and I was able to get this slide cover out. And I did already go ahead and lube this up a little bit, but it is moving now. So that gives me some hope on being able to possibly save this carburetor. And then along with that, I was also able to free up these blades over here, and they are actually working really, really good. They're snapping back perfectly. So those shouldn't be an issue with sticking at all. But the one issue I think this is gonna be with is definitely these choke plates. I can move the arm, but the plates are not moving at all. So what I think I'm gonna do is try and take out all of the float bowls and everything and see how those look. I was able to take out this one and that one, but these two were rounding out the screws. And then once I get those off, I'm gonna go ahead and try and take off the rest of the throttle heads and then clean those up, get those moving once again, and then lastly see if I can free up the choke. And if we do, then I should be able to clean this thing good enough to where it will function perfectly fine. And in some places I can't fit these vice grips in, so I'm probably gonna just use some of these like bolt and screw extractors. These are really, really good. So I just hooked them up to the drill and then basically just spin them out. So I'm gonna give that a shot today. And then if we could get that to work, then we can go ahead and I guess start reassembling the engine, and by that I just mean throwing back on the carburetors and everything. In last video, a lot of you guys were saying that this engine is most likely shot from all the sand that were in the intake ports, and I tried to clean them out as much as I could. And then I also went ahead and put in some ATF into the spark plug holes, because a lot of you guys suggested that to try and lubricate up the cylinder walls as much as I could. And I currently have the ATF still in there, so I'm gonna have to go ahead and spin over the engine a little bit and get it moving a little bit more in there. But I think we're gonna be able to get that engine spinning over freely, and I think we're gonna be able to save it. But it just all really depends on if these carburetors can be saved. If not, then I'm gonna have to order a whole new set, which isn't the cheapest. But I mean, this bike and this engine and everything was free. This bike was gonna get junked, so I swooped in, saved it, and I'm hoping to give this another life. But anyway guys, that's enough talk. Let's get down to the business and begin trying to revive these carburetors. Jeez. Whew. Alrighty guys, so I finally just got off all of the throttle slides and the float bowls, and this thing is pretty freaking beat. These two throttle slides were so insanely hard to get out because they were all rusted up inside of there. This one actually doesn't look too bad, but the needle was pretty bad on it. But I'm really happy that I got all of them out. So basically what I need to do is pull these off of the top, kind of like this, and then lubricate everything up in there, like the spring and the walls, so we get this moving once again. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that real quick, and then we'll move on to the next step. So guys, a little while later, I got 3 of the 4 slides working. I mean, this one I had working prior, but the rest of them besides this one gave me pretty much no issues working, so they're moving pretty good right now. Oh god, still gotta work out some kinks, but definitely working pretty good because I want to make sure that they go up and down really nicely, because I don't want this thing to get stuck at any throttle really. But basically what I did is I just lubed it up with some WD-40, and then I also used a super light grit sanding brick and basically took off or tried to like smooth out all those markings on the side there, and it seems to be working pretty good. I mean, this one's kind of beat all around the edges and everything, so I might just see if I can get maybe one replacement one, because I did have to drill this one out anyway. So I'll see what I can do about this, but I'm gonna let this thing take a bath in WD-40 and let it get all up in there. So I'll let that chill out for now. Now I want to go ahead and focus on these choke plates, because they are insanely stuck. So I'm gonna go ahead and try and unstick them. I'm not gonna bother recording it because this could take hours or it could take 10 seconds. It just might need a little bit more muscle than usual. But if this works, then I think this carburetor is gonna be salvageable, because definitely in here, I mean, even though it's stained and everything, if it's stained, you know, just from the old fuel, it still works. I mean, all of these floats still move freely and everything. It just needs a good cleaning. So I guess we'll just see what happens. All right, so update. It's looking pretty good. This side I got freed up pretty much completely. It's almost completely loose and really easy to turn. This side I am working on. I'm still, you know, going back and forth, moving it. It's still pretty tight, as you guys can see, but as long as I keep just lubing it up and trying to get all that rust out of there and whatever's sitting in there that's really making it hard to spin, and I keep going back and forth, it should be like this in no time. So guys, just a little while later, this side is working perfectly, but I need to, like, I think look up a diagram about how this carburetor choke system works, because this, like, they don't really move together at all. Like, I can move this side all I want, and it doesn't come back when I put it up, but this side does come back. But when I move this up, none of them move. I don't know, it's weird. So I'm gonna have to look into that. I'm sure it's something simple, but I guess this means that this carburetor will be used on this engine. So the way I'm gonna have everything set up, if this engine runs, and when it's on the NasKart, it's gonna have like 4 like AirPod type air intakes. So there's gonna be like one air filter on each thing. I think that's how I'm gonna do it, just because it doesn't take up as much space and it's just as effective. So I can see what I can do with the choke system there, because it's gonna be very accessible when it's on the NasKart. So now that we have that all taken care of, I am gonna go ahead and start pulling out the jets and everything in there, the floats, and try and clean it up to my best ability. I did also just go ahead and shoot some cleaner down into the fuel line, and everything came out from where the needle valves are, so there's no clogs in there, surprisingly, which is awesome. So I guess let's go ahead and begin cleaning this thing up. So guys, I'm in the middle of cleaning the carbs, but I ran out of carb clean, so I gotta go run to AutoZone and get some more. But I'm not able to take off the floats, because I just cannot get out the little arm keeping it in. But I'm sure I don't even need to. I mean, I shot the cleaner through and I was able to make sure that everything is working in there. So as I shot it through, I pushed it in. I pushed all of them in, actually, and nothing came out anymore. So there's nothing really getting in the way of getting a clean closing. So I think we should be fine with that. But I mean, the jets, the primary jets and everything are all cleaned out, but I'm having problems with the secondary jets. Both of these are completely clogged. I mean, like the port inside of the carburetor itself, I was able to shoot through and it came out the other side. But I mean, the jets are just not coming out the other side, no matter how much pressure I put into it. So I might need like a little paper clip or something and see if I can get whatever's in there out. But the floats are still yellowed and stuff, but I mean, color doesn't matter. As long as they function, then it's good. So like I said before, I just gotta go run to AutoZone so I can finish up these two, and then I gotta do the floats. I might see if they have any of like that cleaner in like a bucket, and see if I could just put the carburetors in there, just get really like a really deeper clean, like Purple Power or something like that, because that would definitely be a nice cleaning right there. So guys, I just got back from AutoZone and I went ahead and got the carb clean. And then along with that, I also got a little transfer pump. And the reason I got this is to take out the ATF, so I don't need to like crank it over and have it shoot out everywhere and make a big mess. I can just stick the tube into the hole.
That's what she said.
And begin pumping.
That's what she said.
That's my joke. Damn it, Dwight.
So now that I got the carb clean, we can go head back out there and finish up those carburetors. Oh yeah, and I also went ahead and looked. They didn't really have actually that many like things I could put the carburetors in. I mean, they had like one huge thing of Purple Power, but it was like 50 something bucks, and that's a little bit out of the budget. I've never really needed like Purple Power or anything like that in the past, and you guys know I've gotten a lot of bikes running that has been sitting for a while. I mean, this bike has been probably sitting the longest out of all the bikes I've had, but I think I should be able to hand clean it pretty good and get it good enough to where it can make it run perfectly fine. So guys, I just finished up cleaning inside of the rest of the two, and as you guys can see, both of the jets are out of this one, and the two secondary jets are out of these two, and that is because I made my own little solution, and I have them in there just trying to get whatever's in there out. And if that doesn't work, then like I said, I'm gonna try and find a paper clip and try and stick something in there, because I cannot get those things unclogged. This was the only secondary jet that I was able to shoot through. And then if you come around to the other side, I also went ahead and shot some cleaner into the tops too, and it did clean up pretty well. Just gotta wipe out some of the stuff that's just laying there. But this thing is definitely cleaning up way better than I thought it was. And then later on I might go in with like a wired brush or something and really just scrub away. But I'm gonna let the stuff sit. I'm really glad I brought it out here because the fumes would have been insane inside. So I'll let it dry in the sun. The sun literally just came out and it's shining directly on this, so that's perfect. The engine gods are wanting to see this thing run. And in the meantime, while the carburetor is out there drying, I'm gonna pull off the flywheel cover and just rotate the engine a little bit by hand and see how it feels. I'm going to try and get the ATF into more spaces in the cylinders. Then I'll let it sit for a little bit longer, and then I'll go ahead and suck it out, and then maybe we'll get to installing the carburetors. And who knows, this thing could be running by the end of today's video. We also need to test for spark and everything like that, so I do need to go ahead, get a new battery for it. I definitely wasn't planning on trying to start this thing today, but everything seems to be coming along pretty good. And so I already went ahead and just took out the bolts real quick. So now, let's see how it feels. I'm not going to go full revolutions or anything, because it already came out one side out of the spark plug hole, but ooh, as it is, it already does feel better. Like before it was super like jumpy and everything, but now it feels nice and buttery smooth. Just from this, I wish I could turn it over more. I mean, I might just a little bit. Oh yeah, that feels nice. Oh! Alright, I might have put a little bit too much in cylinder 4. All the other ones aren't spewing out, but that one is. Good thing I have that there. As it is right now, it feels really, really smooth. So I am pumped on that, but I'm going to let it sit there for just a little bit longer now that the pistons are in a new position. It can get in more places. So right now, I just got to wait for stuff to work its magic. I got to let the carburetor dry. I got to let this lubricate. So I'll catch you guys back in an hour or so when I guess we could go ahead and start wrenching again. Alright guys, so we're back here a couple hours later, and the carburetors are all dry now. So these are definitely all good to go. But now what I need to do is try and see if these cleared out at all. So I'll just pour them out. And I'll try shooting carb clean through them again. But on the other side, these all look really, really good. The little holes for the throttle slides really cleaned up well, so I'm really happy with that. The chokes are still moving good, but now it just all depends on these stupid little jets. I've never had jets this stubborn to not clear out, so they must be really, really clogged up. So I guess we'll see what happens. So as you guys can see, all of the jets are now in the carburetor, and I was able to clear out all of them, which is awesome. Them soaking in there I guess it helped a little bit, but what I did is I took this super tiny little now, and you can still see on the tip of it, there's still some dirt that was in the jets, and I basically just stuck it in, kind of moved it around a little bit, and then I shot the carb clean through, and within time, it shot out, and it shot out all of the stuff that was in it, so I'm super pumped on that. I mean, this thing looking ready to go. And then over here I have the floats soaking, and then I'm going to dump all of this out and then scrub it a little bit until they are nice and clean. And I tried to avoid getting carb clean on the rubber and everything. This one looks kind of shot. When I pulled it off, it ripped off. So I might need to get new rubber gaskets for them. But these should also clean up pretty well. I mean, just from shooting them, they cleared right up, but I just got to scrub out the big stuff on the bottom there. So let me do that right now, and then I guess I could go ahead and start reassembling this carburetor in the shed and see what we got going from there. The carburetors are now back inside and all dried, and I am honestly pretty happy how they came out. I mean, yes, they're not the prettiest, obviously, but it definitely is way better than before, that is for sure. And it is good enough, I believe, for it to function perfectly fine. And then the float bowls are also nice and clean and back inside. And then right here is just a little pile of some more nests that I got from the external spots and the little crevices over here. So I just pulled that out with the needle nose. But on this float, I mean, this completely just came off. Since I pulled it off, it basically just snapped in half. I mean, I'm sure it can't hurt to replace all of these gaskets, because carb cleaner does, you know, dry out and ruin rubber gaskets and everything like that. So I think I'm gonna order a full set tonight. And then before I said that we could start reassembling this, but I need to order the gaskets, and then I also realized that I also need new hardware for it, because I basically destroyed every single screw on here to get it off. So I need to make a run to the auto parts store or hardware store and get all new screws like those. So since we're at a pause for that, for now, I wanna go ahead and start trying out my new little sucky transfer pump and see how it works on taking out the rest of the ATF. So I just went ahead and assembled it. It doesn't seem like it would make a good seal. You just slide in these hoses into this, and I think that's it. And then you just pump it. So this side, I believe, sucks it. So let's start with cylinder 1. Hopefully the hose fits in a hole. Dang, I don't think it does. It is literally the same exact size. So the diameter of this hose is too large for the spark plug hole, so I'm gonna try and just cut a little slant into it and see if I can stick it in then, and I think that should work. Dang it, that didn't work. So of course, I got a nice new tool that I'm super excited to use, and I gotta modify it to make it work. But basically, I just added a smaller hose into the bigger hose, and I just zip tied it a little bit to make it a little bit tighter. And then I'm just gonna cut off the excess, stick this down to the cylinder, and begin pumping. So I'm just gonna put it back into the ATF bottle, try and keep it if I need to lubricate another cylinder in the future. Oh yeah, here it comes. Not as fast as I thought it was going to be, but it's working very slowly.
2 hours later.
I'm probably going to cut off all this excess hose. What am I doing? Alright, I'm just going to catch you guys back once I'm done with all 4 cylinders, because if I record this, I'm going to have like an hour of footage. So I just finished up sucking out pretty much all of the ATF, I'm pretty sure, that was in the cylinders. So now I want to go ahead and try and spin over the engine and see how it feels. Oh my, what? Why are there more in there? How is that possible? I just sucked that thing dry.
That's what she said.
Oh my god. Now we got a bloodbath on the floor. Still, that cylinder 4 won't stop shooting out. I need to make sure that I get all of this up, and especially off the exhaust, because if this thing fires up and there's ATF on the exhaust, ATF is flammable, and yeah, hot plus flammable stuff equals fire, so we definitely don't want that. Luckily these shot rags are amazing. Let me see if I can get anything out, oh my, of this cylinder. It's filled to the brim. Holy. There we go. Alright, I think I got all of it out now, and this thing feels amazing. Wow. I was trying to get a full revolution here. That actually feels really, really, really good. I'm super happy how that came out. So guys, everything seems to be going accordingly. The carburetors are revived. I just need to order those gaskets. The engine's turning over super, super nicely. But we're kind of at a halt for now, because I do need to order parts and everything and get new hardware. So tomorrow, I'm probably going to run to the hardware store and then also get a new battery for this thing. So then once the parts come for the carburetor, we can go ahead and slap it on. I also need to get new spark plugs. That's something I need to get as well. But once again, once those new parts come for the carburetor, we could go ahead, slap them on, and this thing will be ready to fire up. Hopefully, if it does run. So guys, I'll catch you in the morning. So guys, we are back here the next day, and last night I did go ahead and order the new gaskets for it, and those are shipped out. They should be here in a couple days. So it looks like that we're not going to be able to reassemble and put on the parts onto the engine in today's video, but next video should be like 99% sure attempting to do the first start with this engine, which is going to be huge. So I'm super pumped for that. And if I did go ahead and try and do all of that in today's video, it probably will be delayed upload and it would be like 45 minutes long, which is super long. So I'm going to be ending the video off here. Stay tuned for next video. As I just said before, I'm really having faith with this engine. I think it's going to start. As long as we don't have any issues with the carburetor, which I don't think we will. I mean, that thing is pretty clean and everything's working on it, then I think it's going to work. But follow my social medias. They'll be on the outro of this video. Instagram and Snapchat I use the most. But thanks for watching. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell your friends about the channel.